And thank you for dropping in here with us to give you our thoughts on the Madden 24 beta that had just finished up this last week. Things were pretty good. There's some people that had a lot of feelings about it. So I am your man, Jerome Span, pretty face on ITC here. Don't forget it, baby. And of course, I've got my partner in crime over here. He is that hot take spitter, the man who rips like Dylon spits. He is the modern day Ali on the microphone. When he steps into your home, all your ladies is gone. He is that man.
You know, it's your boy Mase here, ready to give you the goods.
Of course. We appreciate you dropping in here with us. We're going to try and keep it as brief as we can, but we do got to go over some things that happened in the beta and our overall thoughts here. So, Mase, I will start with you here, my friend. What did you just have an overall feel of the beta? How did you feel about things? Do you feel it was improved? Do you feel like it was, if it was improved, was it a big step forward, a small step? What exactly did you feel?
So I would say it's more of a small step forward, but the small steps were necessary steps. Given that there's always going to be bugs and things like that, and it's a game, people are going to figure out what's broken and all that nonsense. But overall, I feel pretty good about the game. I think the quality of life changes that they've made is going to give us a better experience throughout the course of franchise modes or MUT or whatever game mode you play. So I feel pretty good about it.
Nice. I would say the same thing. Lucky for you guys here, I got like 15 points that we're going to kind of go over and talk about here. So we'll start right here at the top. Mase, first thing I've got here on my notes is offensive line play is much better. Old linemen will now do reach blocks and have much better targeting. How do you feel about that?
It's completely necessary, man. For the past 3 games now, blitzing has kind of been the meta defense. Finding ways to make linemen just stand around and do absolutely nothing has been pretty much the way to go in Madden these past few iterations. So
it went from mid blitz to then the corner blitzes and strong safety blitzes coming out of the big nickel. It's like, oh, great. And spinner. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just the fact that you can block now, like you can competently block now, that in it of itself is a game changer for the game.
Absolutely. That was one of the things that was very noticeable for me right off top. Offensive line play way better. Like May said, the offensive line play has been terrible. One of the biggest differences that I noticed in this one, though, is that your offensive line actually forms you a pocket. So in previous games to where a lot of times your best bet when you saw that edge guy getting ready to come free was you either drop back further or started to take off right away. Then right now, the offensive line actually sets an edge. So it says, hey, even if he beat me first step outside, I'm gonna set an edge that the quarterback can work with and try and maneuver through the pocket. You can maneuver through, get into the new throwing lane, make the throws. Very big improvement. I'm sure there's going to be some people that try and figure out some ways to abuse it. I was already in the beta, already dealing with guys that wanted to still try and do the complete blitz meta, and I was tearing they up. Well, I was tearing their ass up. Boy, they was sick. They was sick out there, bro. So I will say most definitely that was a much needed improvement and very happy with that there. So that actually kind of covers the number 2 point here, which was basically just, hey, the offensive line makes a way better pocket. I mean, from your experiences, Mate, do you feel like there's actually a real pocket for you to throw from now?
Oh yeah, that you can. You're now allowed to step up. Like you can step up, move around. Running backs do a solid job of picking up somebody's free if you block them. So I mean. One of the major aspects of the game has now just been improved, and now for the people who want to pass and pass competently, you now feel like you actually have an opportunity to do that because now your offensive line, you have a good idea of what your offensive line is going to do, play in and play out. Like I said, blitzing, I mean, it's not like blitzing has been completely nullified. People still do get free, but it's not one of those free-for-alls where you have two linemen that don't do anything at all. So
yeah, and I mean, a guy getting free on a blitz to me isn't an issue. It's just it can't happen consistently, right? Because I mean, if we're being real, blitzing is a real football strategy, right? Some guys, Wake Martindales of the world, right? They're gonna heat you up all game long, right? That's what they do. We coming to heat you up. What we doing? Double A gap blitz all day, baby. What we doing? Double A gap blitz. That's what they do. So there should be some balance there where that can still work for you, right? But also in line with one of the other changes that they seem to have made, your offensive linemen do a better job of recognizing when they're running the same blitz on you over and over, right? So if it didn't get picked up maybe the first or second time, it's going to start getting picked up then, right? As long as they're not overload blitzing you and you're only blocking with 5. Look, we have a guy in our league, Mase. I ain't going to throw him under the bus. I ain't going to say his name, but I know quite a few people that's go watch this know about who I'm talking about. But I remember he complained about blitzes getting through, but he wasn't blocking up anybody extra. Can't help you there, Chief. You know what I mean? If he's sending 6 and you only blocking 5, he's going to get a free rusher. But now, if you at least block up that extra man, now you're going to see more regularity of it actually getting picked up, and you're not just getting exposed to the same pressure over and over when clearly your team should be picking those things up. So it's very good to see that change there. It's about time, right? This has been something that's been needed for probably, I know you said the last 3 Maddens have been especially blitz heavy. I think this level of offensive line work that we've gotten, especially because it's not just great in the pass, it's not just better in the pass game, it's better in the run game too, right? Guys are going and they're targeting the guys they're supposed to. They're doing their reach blocks, they're sealing, they're helping seal the man with the double team and then getting to the next level. You know, they're doing the things that you expect. So I think they've done a great job of this. Like I said, it's been something that's probably been needed for about 10 years of Madden, right? But thank you for finally actually getting in the game, EA, right? So next thing I would say here is, this is something that I noticed consistently throughout all of my playthroughs. Mind you, everybody, my experiences that I'm speaking from come from both playing people online and playing through the franchise mode by myself, right? So I've got a pretty fair variance of my experience there of like dealing with the users, dealing with the computer, right? One thing I've noticed in both playing user, playing computer, wide receivers run way better routes, okay? For years, it's felt very robotic on a lot of routes, right? It really didn't look like a human was running it. You know, guys are they're running outs, but it's so squared off that they're literally slowing down at their break when they should be hitting that break and going, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't really see that. And they also seem to have way better contextual catch animations for the catch situation. Like more times than not, you see the appropriate catch animation play out that should play out for you. When I know you can attest to this, Mase, for years, you know, you throw it to the sideline, your guy's got, you know, he's coming in about 5 yards off, and all of a sudden somehow he can't drag his feet to the sideline and get it in. So I will say wide receiver play was much improved. How did you feel about what you had seen from the beta there?
So more than anything, I think guys, like I said, the catches played out how they were supposed to for the most part. For probably the last few Maddens, the run after the catch animation has been terrible. It's not effective whatsoever.
It's been useless.
Yeah,
call it it was useless.
Yeah, so that feels a lot better. And the possession catching animations now don't automatically throw your guy to the ground. Like it's okay to catch it and brace for a hit, and if no hit comes, your guy should still be on his feet. Like, just because you're catching with the thought of max security doesn't mean that you need to immediately go to the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that I did like that. As far as like the route running goes, yeah, it just felt smoother. You felt like you knew where your guys were going to be more often, that they would actually get there on time. Like I said, especially for like out routes and like your flood concepts and things like that. The guy didn't break down for 4 steps and then break, and yeah, not some robotic motion. It felt good to throw out routes on time.
That being said, for all y'all that love throwing to the outside of the field, your quarterback better have some oomph in that arm, and you better be throwing it on time, because if not, I promise you, it's either going to be an incompletion or a pick. I promise you, which is what it is in real life, right? If you don't throw it on time, you don't get the ball there with enough oomph, it's a knockdown or a pick, because the defender has time to react, because you're covering a lot of space. Like, sometimes you're throwing from the right hash, trying to throw it to a guy that's breaking on the left side of the field by the boundary. That you're covering a lot of yards. There should be risk reward there. So I was glad to see that. But something in line with what we were talking about here is actually the next note, which is that pass trajectory is much, much improved. You can now hit the soft spots in the zone as long as you throw the proper pass on time. You can also fit some amazing, amazing tight window passes in there. I wish I had the clip to show you guys. The clips you guys are going to be seeing here as I've cut it up, they're going to be from Madden 23. I'm not fronting to you guys, right? Like, we don't have the rights to use Madden 24 footage. That's not what we have. We got our clips from 23. So there it is. But one thing I really, really noticed, Mase, especially, the middle of the field is actually a viable option again against defenders, because what's happened over the past few Maddens was that you try and throw over the middle of the field, and defenders were able to play a drag route and a 15-yard post route, which didn't make any sense, right? That just you can't do both. You can't guard a drag or an end or slant and then go and guard a post. It's physically impossible to do that, right? Now we see you can throw the ball right past guys. You can throw it right over the area, like that little soft, that little bit of extra trajectory that we were talking about we wanted last season. It seems to be now in the game, and you can really just drop it in a bucket. So it makes me happy to see, and it also helps that with the passes now, if you want to pick it off, your defender actually has to see the ball. He's got to get his eyes around it at some point on the ball, knowing that it's coming. So I was pretty happy with all that. How did you feel about the pass trajectory changes there?
So yeah, like you said, it's like one of those deals where a lot of people like the Texas concept with the drag and the dig route, following it. A lot of people like that route concept. So yeah, I mean, when you can run down on the drag and still be able to turn around and then, while your guy's not looking, throw his hands up and get a pick, that was a lot of that has been pretty much has been remedied. Because like I said, if your defender doesn't see the ball, he's not going to give you a pick animation whatsoever. You just can't. You can press Y all you want to, you will not get an animation. And that's pretty much how it should be. Like, if a guy gets beat off the line and you just give him a quick go route, guys aren't going to be able to jump up and not see it, because what happens in the game, which is what happens a lot of time in real life, is cornerbacks or any defender in general don't turn their head around until they feel like they've caught up, until they're within that arm's length to where they can, if they have to reach out and grab someone, then you got to do what you got to do. But there's no more 5 yards behind and just let me just throw my hands up and something's good gonna happen to me. Like, there's no more throwing those.
What them DB coaches used to say, Mace, you get beat, you better head down and get going.
Yep, that is so.
You're trying to get there just when the ball is getting there, and hopefully you're breaking up the pass that he's getting his hands on.
It's much more like the knockout is much more viable in this game because there will be a lot of times where you try to hit Y and you're just not going to get an animation. At least the knockout, you're either maybe you get lucky enough for your guy to turn around, maybe you pull that trigger real quick and then go for the knockdown, or maybe your guy tries to knock it out of the receiver's hands as he's catching it. So that was, like I said, that was needed because the way online goes, the way Madden franchise has been going for the last few years is it's just get me a fast guy to user over the middle and I can make it work. I can cover up all the holes in my defense regardless. And now that's just not the case, because now when your guy goes to turn and run somewhere, he's either as a user, you either has to prioritize looking at the ball, which you won't get there in time if you do that, or two, you have to just chase the guy down and hope to get the knockout or the tackle right after the catch. So they needed to do it. Plain and simple, it had to be done.
Yep. It's a beautiful sight to see. And mind you, people, we're not saying everything always plays out perfectly as it should, but you're getting a more consistent result that you should be expecting. The game is playing more closely to real football than in previous iterations here. So another thing I think we could touch on with the passing, for me, I don't know how much of it you experimented with, Mase, but the freeform passing is better. I appreciate the fact that the stock settings for the freeform are actually viable now and can really be used. Last year, I felt like you had to do a lot of tinkering with the setting to make it specifically for you. Now it seems to be much more usable, much more effective just off of the base settings. So that's a great thing to see, most definitely. I don't know, how much did you mess with the freeform passing there?
I did give it some goes. It's gonna be one of those deals where probably up until franchises get started and the game's out and all of that, it's something to just still kind of tinker with, go into, see what you can actually get done, see what you can force your receiver, how much you can get your receiver off of his original route, I guess, to get your pass completed or whatnot. Like, what can you do as a user to adjust maybe like those back shoulder throws, those maybe you have a guy going across the middle, but you want him to slow down or stop or something like that on a route. So yeah, it's something, it felt better, but it's something to still be played with once the game actually releases.
Yeah, absolutely. So next in line here, we have got something that I know me and Mase are both very happy about because we both love to run the ball. Running backs no longer get stuck in dumb animations on linemen. I know anybody that's playing Madden and tries to run the ball knows exactly what I'm talking about. You try and run it like you wouldn't realize. You try and press that hole, and then you already knew, hey, I'm going to press the hole, I'm going to get the defender to crash down, and then I'm going out the door, out the side here, right? You couldn't do that a lot of times. Now you can actually do it. I could tell you there was quite a few times, Mase, when I was running the ball where I was like, oh my God, it feels so good to be able to press the hole, cut it back, or press the hole and keep it moving forward and not have my guy bend his back like you're doing limbo. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was glorious. So how did you end up feeling about how the running back O-line interactions are as far as in the running game goes?
I mean, just in general, it felt like it was a lot more fluid. It felt like if I stayed off my turbo button and use it at the appropriate time, that I was in control of what my running back did. He was more responsive to my inputs, and there was actually an animation to get me in and out of where I wanted to go. It was no longer just trying to run through and hopefully you don't get tripped on a lineman. Like he's making his jump cuts, he's putting his hand on the back to adjust where he wants to go. It felt Like I said, it just felt way more responsive, and there was an animation that went with that as well. So, like I said, it felt a lot more smooth than in previous Maddens to actually maneuver around running lanes.
I know when I was playing somebody online, it felt so good to literally just watch a dude flow with the outside zone, watch his whole team go to the right, and be able to just one hard cut back to left, and I'm gone. I ain't had to do no crazy juke or nothing. It was just turn myself back that way, hit that turbo, and I was out of there, baby. Like, it was lovely. And why I bring that up as an example, because when I did that, my running back, he ran right off the hip of the lineman, and he didn't get caught on him. He didn't get stuck. You smooth transition right through, and we got to turn up the field and be gone. So it's a beautiful thing to see. This is kind of a twofold thing here. It's 2 points, but they both correlate with each other here. So quarterback scrambles are much more responsive when you have a mobile quarterback, and non-designed quarterback runs are no longer such a risk for fumbling the ball. Mind you, me and Mase are both guys that believe that, hey, if you running willy-nilly with your quarterback and I bring the wood to him, there should be a good chance of him fumbling the ball, because that's how it usually plays out if you lay the wood to a quarterback, right? But what was dumb was that in the past couple games is that you would scramble for yards, and then your quarterback gets a basic tackle, regular old tackle, right? Just the A tackle, conservative as can be, and he fumbles the ball. That was outrageous. You know, it didn't make sense when you look at especially how the game is played in the real life NFL now, right? You need guys that are mobile. You need people that are going to be able to get you 4 or 5 yards here when you need them, right? Scramble out, make a decision, say, hey, we're not throwing it. We're just going to run, get these yards, get out of bounds. Oh, hey, I'm going to run, slide here. Another thing that I really enjoyed about it, Mace, was the slide seems to be more effective now. It seems to actually kick in right when you want it, and guys don't get to just vacuum to you and, change that animation and make you take a hit that was unnecessary.
I think more so as far as the sliding goes in particular is that the diving animations no longer warp you to offensive players. So you can now safely slide and not get some animation that's going to bring your quarterback back to his feet just to get hit by 3 other people. So, but yeah, just the responsiveness of being able to scramble around with your quarterback, I think that's a huge help in the game. Like, there's no reason quarterbacks should be stuck in the mud when they want to get out of the pocket. I mean, that made no sense to me. It's like if you have a guy with decent speed, you should be able to step up and run out left or right if that lane is open, and be able to buy yourself some time, because it happens play in and play out with just about every quarterback in the league. They'll step up, roll out if they need to, with no fear of being like, oh, I got to drag a whole leg out here with me. You know, it's ridiculous. So
that's one thing that I think can tie in most definitely to the next point here, which is that player movement in general just doesn't. It feels way better. Your guys don't seem to lose speed when they shouldn't be, and they seem to get back up speed much quicker. I know a lot of you dive tacklers are like, oh man, it's going to be that'll help me because I get to run with my guy. Well, yeah, here's the problem though. The dive tackle, like May said, doesn't have that huge suction cone anymore, but neither do the hit sticks. They don't have that huge suction anymore, which is a glorious thing because, hey, you should have to be trying to line up the hit, not just depending on the fact that, like some of the dudes in the leagues we play in, Maze, oh, let me just dive through your lineman or dive when I'm 6 yards away because I know if I get within like 3 yards, it'll just suction me on. There's no more, I dove to the ground and then this guy gets to get up and suction off the ground to make a tackle. No, you're dead in the water now. You got to play more football. Player movement is better. You have more control, but you have to be better on your skills, especially when you're coming to tackling the ball. Dive tackling has bailed a lot of guys out for a lot of years here because there was such a big suction. Good luck to y'all fellas this year. That's all I can tell you. One thing I think I ran into here, I don't know how much of an experience you had with this space, but I did a lot of this testing in the franchise mode, but pass rush abilities feel very toned down. They're still effective, but it doesn't seem to give you an instant win all the time anymore. You can effectively double team an edge threat or an edge threat elite at this point. So I don't know how you felt about your experience, but that was one thing that came from all of my time with the game most definitely was that, hey, those abilities, and just in general, all the abilities that were like basically instant wins last year, they really toned them down. How did you feel about it?
I think that was necessary, man, because even the best guys don't instantly win every, like there's always a chance to fight back. And like you said, being able to double team edge rushers now effectively, that really changes the whole prospect of passing again, because effectively the last few Maddens, I mean, the only real players to really double team was the 1 technique and the 3 technique out there. Other than that, you were just kind of hoping that your edges held up. But being able to effectively say, I'm doubling dude on the outside here, and everything gets slid, everybody slides over and does their job effectively. It now puts a real emphasis on guys actually being able to play defense and scheme and not just react to the first thing you see anymore, because now guys actually have time to make reads and go through progressions and run your user off with a route, knowing that you're going to chase it because you don't believe he has time to go anywhere else.
Oh man, I was doing that to a guy. I believe he was playing with the Bills, and he was like, he kept just thinking, "Oh man, I can cover everything." And Mase, I was just killing him. He could never figure out whether I was going to throw to the slot receiver or the tight end. He didn't know, because you can't guard them both. You can't do that anymore. And I had the time to sit back when I said, we're going to double team Vine, right? And if somebody else get loose, so be it, right? But Vine, he ain't getting loose. Gave myself the time that I needed. It was a beautiful thing to see, especially being able to double team these edge guys. And I mean, for context for everyone, you do these double team animations, they're not, if they win, they're not just like, oh, slightly win, they kept the guy, double team. No, they will manhandle the defender and put him on his ass. Okay, so it's good to see that we're seeing more effective football concepts actually being put into play here. Because, I mean, look, even me as a guy, and you too, as someone who most definitely valued having an edge threat guy, we both acknowledged willingly that it was outrageous how powerful the abilities were. We used them because you got to get them dubs, baby.
Right, yeah, you got to fight back, man. You got to fight back.
Mm-hmm. So that was a good thing to see. I'm sure people will start trying to figure out more combinations as the year goes on, because especially like in franchise mode, right? Guys have more ability slots than they used to have. So I'm sure some stuff will come out, but hopefully they just keep doing a good job of bringing it back to a more realistic point than just letting it be an overpowered, whatever that ends up being an overpowered ability. I will tell you this much, guys. I did a lot of experimenting with a lot of different abilities. I mean, I edited a pass rusher to make him a 99, right? Because I really just wanted to see how effective is this stuff if you've got somebody really good. There was no point where I ever felt like I was getting the same type of pass rush that was available to me in the past 2 to 3 Maddens with an edge threat guy. Like it felt like it was closer to real football. Yeah, that guy would make some plays for me sometimes, but it just wasn't every down. He was just whooping the tackle's ass. That's just not what's happening anymore. So it's a good thing to see. My next note here that I would say is inside D linemen that are good are actually a full value for you now. And what I mean by that is in the previous Maddens, you got a lot of value from these inside dominant D linemen in the run game, but it wasn't always there in the pass game. Now, these guys will whoop your inside linemen's butt if they're just outmatching them, right? If they're the better player, they're gonna whoop their butt. And now you will see more times where the pocket is getting pushed back into you, or where, hey, he hit him with that bull rush, knocked your offensive lineman on his ass, and he's coming for you, baby, right? Or hey, he hit him with a quick swim club. These things are now actually effective. How much of this did you end up seeing in your experience there, Mase?
I ended up seeing it. I ran into a fair amount of guys playing with the Kansas City Chiefs, so obviously Chris Jones was very effective. But to one of our earlier points, with dive tackling being so ineffective, you had a chance to escape still, because guys would come in, run and dive, and they don't get the same animations to where they just kind of, like I said, they just suction to the offensive player. So I saw it, and it will happen. It's going to happen to you if you're not paying attention. You will, the interior in your offensive line will get beat instantly, and somebody will be in your face. But to that point, you can no longer dive at a guy and expect good results. So it happens. It's just as effective as an outside guy winning instantly. But like I said, if the user is still into that mindset of I'm diving, you've got a shot. Plain and simple.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a beautiful thing to see. No more suction tackles from 6 yards away when that dude should have been on the ground. So it's great to see. Hey, I'm telling you, Mason, you notice just like I do, there are so many people out there that's going to make them so mad. And I'm glad it's going to make you mad, because your bum ass should learn how to take a proper pursuit angle and actually make a real tackle and not just be, oh, I can dive for 8 yards. But keep it moving forward here. I know this is something that me and you both noticed right off top, which is the DBs have much better pursuit and pursuit angles as far as in the run game and also in the pass game. So now your guy isn't just beat all the time. Like when a guy gets open, if the ball's not thrown on time, your DB is actually going to recover. So I love holding on to the ball for 5 minutes with the deep crossing routes. Y'all gonna think those are open, but they're not. I promise you that. You better learn quick, because you're gonna be throwing a lot of picks trying to do that dumb stuff. So with that and the way better knockout and knockdown animations that you get makes DB play overall just feel a lot better to me.
Oh yeah, the defending crossing routes and slant routes and those things have been horrendous in Madden for a few years at least. So just simply having a guy that's going to stay with the crossing route. I mean, but as they should. I mean, these aren't like fundamental changes to how football is being played. Like Madden isn't finally doing something that doesn't happen in real life. Like crossing routes usually not that open. It usually takes a really good pass to hit a crossing route, especially one that started on one side of the field and he's throwing it when he gets to the other. Like those usually, there's not many quarterbacks who are hitting those consistently, and when they do, it's pinpoint accurate. It's deadly accurate. So it's taking that out of the game as a viable option 100% of the time is definitely a good thing for the game. I don't see anything bad coming of it. It just forces people to play the game properly.
Yeah, forces you to play football instead of just depending on one concept to win you the game all the time. One thing here that I know a lot of people they're going to probably have mixed opinions on this, but it's the next point here, which plays into part of what we're talking about here with DBs. Speed is still valuable, but it is not the end-all, be-all anymore. An example for you guys. In 23, when your corner was slower, it didn't matter. He was going to get beat deep by any wide receiver that had like a greater speed than him all the time. Now what you see is closer to real life. That DB keeps him in his pocket. He said, I didn't put you in my pocket. I'm keeping you there. And you see it's more of a, hey, he hits him with that arm guard, slow you down a little bit. And when you combine that with the fact that the pursuit is much better and that the knockdowns are way better, it's not just, hey, I get to hold on to the ball, bomb it deep because my guy's faster. That doesn't just bail you out anymore. Now you, like I said, you have to throw it on time. You get the concept's got to be open. You can't just be forcing the ball saying, oh, well, I got to hold it. I'm going to throw it deep. A lot of those passes now result in knockdowns or picks all day long. I had a guy who kept trying to do that to me, Mase. He played with the Dolphins. After that one dude that I told you I was playing with the Dolphins that just wanted to run the ball, I played another guy. Bruh, he tried to do it with Tyreek Hill. He just tried to I can outrun you every time. Nope.
And also to that point, your quarterback's throw power plays a very big part in, I mean, even with the pass lead stuff being a thing, if your quarterback doesn't have an arm to get it out there, you can't wait till the guy's 30, 40 yards down the field to throw the ball. Like the ball's going to come out slower, giving the DB an opportunity to get into position. So there's no more of this. I got 396 plus receivers, so somebody's always going to be on a streak. And if I wait long enough, he's going to get open. Even if he does get open, you might not be able to get it there. And if your quarterback doesn't have the type of cannon he needs to get it there,
you might not be able to get it there. And the DB is playing it so much better that if the person that you're playing against is going for the knockout, they're more than likely going to get that animation. More than likely. So it's really good to see because I was just tired of speed being something that just dominated, especially with the wide receiver quarterback interaction. It never made sense to me that they weighted speed so high in their in their math for how the interactions played out, right? It never made sense. Like, hey, just because a guy's fast, John Ross, one of the fastest human beings we've ever seen in football cleats, he sucked as an NFL wide receiver. You know why? Because even when he ran those vertical routes, niggas knew what he was running. So you don't just get to run by me. I got safety help too. My safety should be there. So I'm very happy to see that speed isn't just the end all be all. I especially through my my playing through a franchise base through both parts of the beta, right when they had the first one in June and then right towards the end there. I noticed that player quality actually mattered more now than just saying, oh, I got the fastest dude on the field, right? Like for a lot of years, all it was he the fastest guy that I can get. Now, if your guy isn't talented, but he's just fast, he's going to play just like a dude that's not talented, that's just fast. You can't just depend on that anymore. Speed is no longer just your end-all, be-all bailout, which
it never should have been a thing because we see it all the time where track stars or just fast guys in general don't make the cut. Like they just don't. They can't. They don't get on the field. At most, they're used as return men, but even then, there's probably somebody who's a better returner than them. Somebody who has more vision to see blocks and set up blocks that's going to get that job over the guy that's just running the straight line 4-3. There's no room for that player in football, really.
If y'all think we're lying, the top 10 40 times in history for the combine are by John Ross, Kalen Barnes, Chris Johnson, Rondell Melendez, DJ Turner, Dre Archer, Tariq Woolen, Jerome Mathis, Marquise Goodwin, and Stanford Routt. There is only 2 players on that list that weren't at best just a role player, and that is Chris Johnson and Tariq Woolen. 2 out of 8 were actually studs. The rest was just fast, not skilled. I bet you if we put up a poll, Mase, and named up dudes like Rondell Melendez, like, hey, what team did he play for in the league? They would be like, I don't know exactly because speed is the end all be all.
You can't even name me the last team that John Ross played for.
No, I can't do it. So that's the whole point. That's what we're trying to get across to a lot of you guys. I know some of these guys, especially in GOAT League, are going to be like, oh, well, he's fast. Again, my boys, I just read you 10 names. Only 2 of them was worth a damn. So speed isn't the end all be all. It should never have been that way. You are 100% correct.
And then, guess what? One was a running back and the other one was a cornerback. So speed at the receiver position really ain't it. If a guy can't run a route and get open, it doesn't matter how fast he is.
Straight up. You could be the fastest dude in the league, but if you can't run good routes to get yourself open, it means nothing. It means nothing. But that's just to be like to have things make sense, right? But the last point that I'll make here before we get you guys up out of here is this is something I know will make a lot of people very happy. Kick coverage is much better. Majority of the time, the lanes are filled properly and guys aren't getting big returns. I'm not going to tell you that there's never a kick return or a punt return. There are. If guys get out of their lanes or, sometimes the wind's blowing a little weird, you get your kick comes up short, the lane opens up, boom, you're gone, right? Everything just got blocked up. It happens sometimes. But last year, there was a lot of regularity to the guys getting kick returns, and it doesn't really seem to be that case. Between all the computer games that I played, all the user games I played, I think I saw, and mind you, people, I probably got in 30-something games. I think I saw 2 kick returns. One was when I was playing the computer and I had set my controller down to text message somebody. And when I looked at the replay of it, I was like, oh, I would have closed that up if I was playing. Like my guy was supposed to be the guy there filling the lane, right? And then the other one, hey, man, it just got blocked up. Everybody got on their blocks. My man chose the right hole. He cut it back to the right hole that he did, and he took off. He was gone. So it's not something that happens with so much regularity, which is a very good thing because I know, Mason, I'm sure you could attest to this too. The amount of free points that niggas was getting on kick returns last year was driving me insane.
Momentum shifting points. Like you just about to step on his neck, and then all of a sudden he gets a kick return.
Been dead in the water all game, and then kick return. Whole momentum bar just changed to the other side. Like, wait a minute, I was up 21.
A kick return does that, bro? Like, that's just wild, man.
Yeah, so I think they've made some some very good improvements. I ain't saying the game's perfect yet, but my overall feeling was I feel like it's in a much better place than it was even at the end of the year last year when they had done all the patches and tried to stop a lot of the stuff. The game's in a much better position. I think because of that, it should give more longevity for a lot of people over the course of this football season. And, hopefully that helps them continue to improve and make the game better and better because over the course of this year, right, we're going to find out some spots where, oh, you messed up here, this is going to need to be fixed. But as long as the other problems are staying corrected and you're not compounding on top of the other issues that were supposed to be corrected, people can figure out workarounds, right? We all can do that. So we will see what happens here. But Mace, let's leave the people with what was your just lasting thought there on the beta and where you think things are going to be when the game releases next month.
I think that we're going to get a product that EA can kind of rest on, knowing that the 2K football game is coming. It's right around the corner. Who knows if we're actually going to get an NCAA football game, but if that comes, the Madden franchise is going to have to be markedly better. So I think this is a step in the right direction. And once there's competition for football content, gaming content, I don't see any reason why EA won't continue to improve and create something that as closely resembles NFL as they possibly can. So I'm happy with the changes. Like I said, I know it's not going to be perfect, but I'm just ready to see if they continue with this and kind of ignore those people who are going to complain, saying it's too hard to do X, Y, and Z, when in all actuality, it should be hard to do some things in football.
Couldn't have put it better, brother. Hey, we're getting close to the real football. That's all I'm asking for. You know, let my scheme beat your scheme. If I'm better than you, I should be able to execute better than you and have a better scheme. It shouldn't be where I need to exploit the game. My lasting impression base was good luck to y'all bum niggas that don't know how to play football. That's my lasting impression. Good luck to you bums that needed to dive tackle to save your life, or that needed to be able to have a super fast linebacker that you can cover up two things. Nope. You about to be dead in the water, homie. It's about to be a long year for you. And I ain't saying no names, but I'm sure some of y'all that listen to this know I'm talking about you. Make tell people where to find you.
You know, man, Twitter, funky_stuff09, Twitch, twitch.tv/swaggy_mace. Hit me up. You will be seeing my Madden games. You will be seeing other games. Hit me up. Check me out. Have a good time.
At J-Span the Man everywhere. You can see my pretty face with the ITC logo. Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. You know what I mean? Wherever. You know where to find me. But that was your boys here from Sports Ball giving you our thoughts on this Madden 24 beta and where we think it's going to be when the game releases in about a month here. So to all of our people out here, appreciate your time. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week.
Peace.